Do-Nothing Day. Life's an everyday adventure. That's my philosophy. Breakfast at our house is usually not the most exciting part of the day. Everyone is just waking up and thinking about all the things we have to do. Today, as my mother was reading the paper and sipping her coffee, she sighed and said, "Oh, someday I would love to just do nothing. No chores, no errands, and just read the paper or a good book all day." My father looked up, smiled, and said, "That sounds like a good idea to me, too." Suddenly, the not-so-exciting breakfast became very exciting. My toes woke up and started tingling in my moccasins as an idea was building in my head. I asked to be excused from the table. As I was running to my room, I exclaimed, "I'll be right back." My parents are always doing things for me. Today, I would do everything for them. They wouldn't have to do a thing. I quickly drew 2 tickets to their very first Do-Nothing Day. It felt like I had been gone forever, but when I got back to the kitchen, my parents were in the exact same places at the table, doing the exact same things. I made my announcement. "You have just won tickets to Do-Nothing Day." I handed each of my parents a ticket. They were giggling as I helped them out of the kitchen with their papers and coffee. Then I told them they should sit and relax while I cleaned things up from breakfast. They continued laughing as I skipped back to the kitchen. Once I finished cleaning everything up, I thought my parents might like a fresh glass of water. As I delivered one to each of them, I thought they might be more comfortable if their legs were up. Even though my parents didn't say it, I knew they were really happy because they just kept smiling as I moved around to help them. I knew what was next. "Don't worry. I know the dog needs exercise and I am too young to walk her by myself. I will play ball with her in the backyard until she gets tired," I said as I hopped out toward the backyard. The dog and I ran and played and chased and raced. It was so much fun I almost forgot about my parents. Then my 4-legged friend and I sat under our favorite tree to rest. I had to think about what I should do next for my parents. When I looked toward the house, I saw something move in the kitchen. I ran inside and found my mother with her head inside the refrigerator. "You're not doing anything, are you?" I asked jokingly. "Oh, certainly not, Sweet Pea. I was just looking around. You know how I do that sometimes," she said as she winked and went back to the other room to read. Aha! I bet my parents are hungry. It must be lunchtime. I thought about what I could make. Since I can't cook or cut anything with a knife, it wasn't going to be easy. I looked around to see what I could put together for lunch. Sandwiches! That would be easy, and I would not have to cook or cut anything to make them. I got the bread, cheese, mustard, and lettuce. Then I added some little red tomatoes and big green apples to the plates for color. I poured fresh glasses of water and set the table. "Lunch is served," I said from the kitchen. My parents arrived and pretended it was a fancy restaurant. As my father pulled out the chair for my mother, he said, "My lady?" My mother smiled and said, "Why, thank you, sir." I giggled as my father pulled out the chair for me, too. After our nice long lunch, I asked my parents to meet me in the backyard. I ran to get a blanket and some pillows for them to relax on with their books. "I thought you might like to rest a little more. I'll clean up from lunch." As my parents settled in on the blanket, they chuckled a little and said, "Thank you." I could not believe how often you have to clean the kitchen. It's amazing how messy it gets every couple of hours. I did have fun, though. I got caught up in imagining that a big storm of suds had come out of nowhere, and I had to save all of the dishes and glasses. Luckily, they were all saved and all clean. I thought that my parents must have been tired of resting by now, and that a little fun was in order. I grabbed a deck of cards and headed outside. We had so much fun playing every card game we could think of that it was dark by the time we finished. Do-Nothing Day was terrific. My next mission. Dinner. I had to think of something quickly. Nothing new occurred to me, so I made the same thing I did for lunch. Cheese sandwiches. This time I also prepared a snazzy dessert. Chocolate cookies with chocolate ice cream. We ate and laughed until it was time for bed. I suggested that I tuck my parents into bed, but they insisted that they tuck me in instead. My job was all done for the day.
Miss Molly, it may not seem as if we did very much today, but in fact we did,
my father said with a smile. My mother finished his thought. We loved you all day and appreciated all of the wonderful things you did for us. Then, just before the lights were turned off, I got 2 kisses on my forehead. On Do Nothing Day, it is awesome to do the everything part or the nothing part. Everybody has a great time. Molly Moccasins, Everyday Adventurer.